Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today's video is going to be a reading wrap-up of the month of January to March because I have read a total, how much have I read? Good question. I've read 16 books, but before y'all come for me, I think 4 of them were manga, I think. So yeah, this is just gonna be like a book and manga wrap-up of what I've read so far this year, and I'm very excited because I've had a very good reading year so far. I've also just read, actually, let me fix this. This is the most I've read this fast in a year in kind of a while. I know there's some people out there who read 100 books in a year, but I'm a student, so it's kind of hard sometimes when, you have textbooks to read. I haven't been reading my textbooks, to be honest. I rushed to get ready for this video because I was so excited to film, I couldn't really wait. So we're just gonna get right on into it. So the first book of the year that I finished reading, it was a big boy. It was Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. What if I take my hair down? Will that make me feel better? Perhaps it'll make me feel better, but when I got my hair dyed, it's kind of way too white blonde for my liking. I don't personally, I don't like the white blonde look. I like the golden, the buttery blonde. It's a little yellowy. Or actually, maybe it's this. Oh my god, that's so much better. Okay, so this book was so freaking good. I actually think between this one and Goblet of Fire, it's probably my favorite book out of the series. It was the longest, and a lot of people that I spoke to about it found it pretty boring. I didn't think it was boring. Oh, I'm missing a reading. I didn't think it was boring at all, actually. I was pretty engaged the whole time. I mean, it might be because I'm in my Harry Potter era right now. I'm ready to rumble with this shit. I'm very excited. I'm living for this right now. So I was really excited and really pumped to get through it. Did it take me kind of a long time? Yes, but that was due to just being busy and then also just slacking on reading. I found the first bit actually really interesting because it's we're kind of seeing a different side of Harry. I feel like he's usually very optimistic and considering everything that he's been through, he has a pretty good attitude, but you're kind of finally seeing him get broken down a little bit by everything going on and feeling a little left out and isolated. And so it's good. I feel like it's good for just character growth and switching up the dynamic because surely you're not gonna maintain it the same pace for eight books or through 7 books and through 7 years of your life. So I kind of like the switch up. I like the change of pace. And then the ending was just fantastic and it was so sad. Fuck, I cried at the end. It literally broke my heart. I'm pretty sure I gave it 5 stars. I think at first I thought a different cover was my favorite, but I think this is my favorite. I don't know, it's just beautiful. Next book that I read was Gyo by Junji Ito. If you've been following me or know me, you know that I'm kind of having a Junji Ito obsession. Everything that he has done, I want to read. I'm obsessed with his work. I think he's so inspirational and fantastic and genius and honestly just all of the above. He's just awesome. And yeah, I want to read everything he's ever put out. So I wanted to read Gyo, or it's Gyo. It might be Gyo. I've heard it pronounced a couple different ways. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing it, but free to correct me. Let's look at that crazy art. This I found it was really good and actually was really entertaining because it's basically about where a bunch of, it's a what if all the sea creatures became grew legs and became land animals. And I'm really actually scared of sharks. It's one of my biggest fears, genuinely. So seeing a shark on land kind of freaked me out a little bit. I thought it was really good. I think everything he does is pretty freaking good. To be honest, my favorite part of this book was at the very end. Okay, here it is. The Enigma of Amigara Fault. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I'm probably not, but I'm trying my best. The Enigma of Amigara Fault. This book, or this bonus story in this book, what a treat this was. It was better than the entire book easily, and it was only a handful of pages. Well, not a handful, but it was probably if I were to guess between 20 and 30 pages. It was so good. It's basically just sit for this because I promise it's so good. Literally, it's basically this kind of cavey, mountainous range of rock, and it's popular in the news and everyone's going and visiting it because basically there's this phenomenon that's happening where there's a bunch of holes in this rock that are shaped like human beings, and rumor has it that you can go and find the shape of your body. There's a hole for it in this rock. And everyone's going and looking for theirs. Anyways, yeah, so sorry, I'm such an over explainer. I just hope I'm explaining it good. But So like you're following these characters, so they go and they're seeing people walk inside of their holes. But the thing is, like, there's not only, sorry, they're just like the shapes of these bodies, they're like continuous. Like you can walk into them and basically keep going for eternity, maybe. Like no one knows. Once you walk into this hole and it's shaped exactly like you, and you just keep going, no one knows what happens to these people when they walk inside their holes, but they don't really come out. And then at the end of the book, if you're okay with me spoiling, if you're not going to read it, comes out this like disfigured ass human being. It's actually really scary. It's actually, like, the thought of it, I think it's actually one of his best and scariest stories, because the thought of, I feel like I'm not explaining it well, but just like knowing that there's a shape of you out there in the world that you can walk into, and like, oh, and not only is it like people just are casually walking in wanting to find it, like once you see it, it's like calling to you, and like you can't really not go in. I think it's just like the mystery of the unknown, and something that's like meant for you, like something that's made for your demise, and like one where you like suffer, you know what I mean? It's just horrifying. There's actually some really good video essays I've watched online about this story, but I just think it's brilliant. So the next book that I read was Salem's Lot. I rated this 4 stars. It was actually so good. Like, what a good book to not get into Stephen King, but also kind of, because before this I had only read The Body, which the movie Stand By Me is based off of. And then I also read The Stand, and then Billy Summers. So I had read 3 Stephen King books. So I still am pretty new compared to a lot of people. Sorry, when I'm alone, my apartment likes to make like creepy noises. I thought Salem's Lot was a really great book, and I've heard a lot of people say that it's a good like intro book if you're getting into Stephen King. It's a really good intro book to get into him. So I was really excited going into it to read it, and also because like anything vampires, I love. I mean, since a kid, I loved Twilight, and I would do vampire spells as a child. Yeah, definitely a little strange. I won't get into that right now. That's kind of, you know, it's my past. It's not who I am anymore. But yeah, I've always loved the idea of vampires, and just I always thought they were so cool. So reading about it, and in the way that he does it, where it's just done so well, and I have a really hard time getting scared, so I didn't even read necessarily for like to get scared, but it's just like the way that he writes, and not only, he's just brilliant. He's so brilliant because he's not just concerned with the horror, he's concerned with the character development and getting you to care about the characters first, and then you're concerned about what happens to them, and that intensifies like the fear. Like I didn't feel like fear really, but there was a couple scenes that like definitely I was like, fuck, that's spooky. And like there was scenes where I really feared for characters and like their well-being. So hey, I guess that counts as like I was fearful for them, like really fearful, and was really rooting for them, and I was just so concerned. I loved them. I really liked the characters and the way that they were done in this book, and just like the small town of it all, the small town vibe of it all, and I just really liked it a lot. I thought it was really well suited towards like what I like in books. I love romanticizing small towns, even though I would probably never live in one. So yeah, it was really fun. I think I read like almost 200 pages of it on the airplane in a row, and I just had no issues doing it because it was so good. And usually that's not something that I can do because my attention span will just be gone. But it was really good, and it definitely got me on like a Stephen King kick. I was like, okay, I want to read more Stephen King, like now. I was actually really sad for it to be over. I thought it was a great book. So next I read a manga, and this was Nana. I wanted to read Nana for the longest time. Well, not the longest time, I guess, but you know, for a while now, I've been pretty intrigued in this story, and I've heard lots of things about it. And I mean, lots of people said it's like the saddest manga, and I was like, damn, really? Or one of the saddest manga. That's just what I was told by some people. And when I heard, similar to when I heard about A Little Life being like the saddest book ever written, I was like, damn, sign me up. Oops. I'm personally pretty good like with books that have like trigger warnings and things like that, or like deal with really heavy content, like books that really like move me emotionally and have like a really intense effect on me and my emotions. I like coming from a book like sobbing my eyes out and like wanting to curl up into a ball and die. I actually crave that in books, because to me it's just so, it really goes to show it was a good book, like something that can move me, that strongly. One thing though I can't do that's sad is Radiohead, man. If I'm like enjoying my day and I go to play some Radiohead that's not off of In Rainbows, my day is gonna be ruined. It really affects you emotionally. Okay, anyways, I don't know what I'm getting on about. Anyways, I want to read Nana. I heard things that interested me and sparked my interest. Lots of people also warned me not to read Nana. because of how heavy it is. And so far it's not so bad. Right now, hint, hint, I'm on volume. Actually, maybe I should just do all of these at once. Okay, update. I ended up reading 3 volumes of Nana so far. 2 of which I have literally read within the past week, and now I'm moving on to the 4th because it's just so good and I can't stop. They were gifted to me, so I was able to have access to read them, which is so great. Just up to volume 4, so that's why I'm kind of putting off the 4th one now because I'm like, oh, I'm so excited to read it. Anyways, so yeah, it's not gone like crazy heavy so far. It's definitely hinted at some heavy topics for sure. So am I kind of fearful of what to come the more that Nana O opens up? Yes, I am. But I must say, guys, like, I made a video talking about it even after just reading the 1st volume because I was so moved by what I was reading. I've only read up to 3 volumes, but so far, so I can only say so much, but like, I personally, no matter what anyone says, think that it captures the coming of age experience of a girl really, really well. Obviously there's some things in there that are like touchy, and when I get to that, I might change my mind, I might make a different decision, but so far with what I'm reading, the art combined with the storytelling is just so beautiful. And even in the most recent volume that I read, or no, it was volume 2, they literally, the Nanas are just going furniture shopping and for their new apartment, and I found it so magical. I really did. And I found it so just like, it like romanticizes even these little things, and it romanticizes coming of age and like starting to take control of your life. And the characters are so lovable. Like Nana O is so, you know, almost like a more of like a role model figure. She seems like she's got it all together, but she really has all these kind of dark secrets, but she's really tough, and she's also in a band. And then the other Nana is so cute and lovable and naive, and she's very sensitive and like emotional, and things like hit her heart deeply, and she's not afraid to wear her heart on her sleeve. And I just find both of the characters and their dynamic, and they're just so like, both of the characters are just so lovable, and I really love this story and I'm cherishing it. And the fact that I'm kind of reading it at a time in my life that's similar to the time that they're in it, their lives, I think that's also why it's kind of hitting me the way that it is, because a lot of these things that they're thinking and experiences that they've had and what they're dealing with are things that I'm also currently going through. So it's touching my heart in a way that's very personal. And so I'm just really loving this series, and I'm really, really, really excited to continue it. And I can't wait to then, once I'm done reading the manga, watch the anime. So I'm really excited. And I know that I think there's only 21 volumes, and the author's actually like having really bad health issues, so she doesn't know if she'll ever be able to complete it. It's been like years, like over a decade, I'm pretty sure. But she's hinted now at being able to complete it. So that's pretty exciting, and you know, I hope it happens, and I hope she gets better. This is a special series, and the art in this is so glowy and magical and beautiful. It just makes me, it does something to my heart. The next book that I read was Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. This one was also really good. Shit, I mean, a lot of it, I enjoyed it. Actually, no, I'm kind of thinking more about the movie. It was good. It's Harry Potter, man. You know, it was good. I love Harry Potter. I'm obsessed. My Harry Potter shelf is right beside you. But yeah, it's good. It's intriguing. It's just like, it surprises me that J.K. Rowling is like consistently coming up with books that like, there's not a single dull moment. It's kind of incredible. And the ending of this, oh my God. If you've read it, you know what happens. I cried. I sobbed. I was shocked. I was utterly shocked. Anyways, I actually hated it because the ending was so upsetting. Anyways, great book, but like, fuck you. What the hell? You have to do that. Was that really necessary? Anyways, so good. What? Oh, the next book was Misery by Stephen King. Like I told you, Salem's Lot really, it pushed me to read some freaking Stephen King, and I've always wanted to. It was inevitable at some point, but this was so good. I rated this 5 stars. It was actually amazing. Oh my gosh. And like Stephen King, he really is a freaking genius, because like, I know we already all know this, but like pretty much this whole book took place in one setting. Yeah, this entire book, one setting, one room, but not even like one setting, like one room. And it was interesting and intense and like shocking the entire time. Like, it's this guy laying in bed, and that's not a spoiler. Like, basically, if you don't know the premise of Misery, this man, he gets into a car accident in the snow, and he is a famous writer, and he is like stuck in this car crash in the snow and no one can really see him. And basically his biggest fan, Annie Wilkes, rescues him and brings him into her home to take care of him. But obviously it's a little suspicious, like, why aren't we taking him to the hospital? Why are we taking him to your house, Annie? And she ends up being a crazed fan. That's all I'll say. And it's such a good book. Like, and Annie Wilkes is such a strong character. And even her language and the way that she speaks is so distinct and weird that it's just like, it just further pushes like how fucking not with the rest of society that she is. And it's just so good. And like the way that Stephen King describes pain in this book as well is like unlike anything I've ever heard. And just the fact that he was able to make something so that is a good idea but so hard to execute, I feel like he executed it perfectly. The movie's also great if you haven't seen the movie and want to watch it. But this was just such a strong book, and I think I finished it in 2 days. I was so locked in and had to know what was gonna happen. So it was fantastic. It literally kept me on the edge of my seat the whole time, and like strongly recommend this book. Also, if you're not good with like scary stuff, this is a good option too, because it's not like traditionally. I felt genuine fear in this book. I felt fear, and I felt on the edge of my seat, like afraid for when Annie Wilkes, you know, was gonna get home when he was doing something he wasn't supposed to be doing. But it still isn't like use of like what traditional scary stuff, if that even makes sense. I think it's a good read if you get scared easily. You'll probably like this one. Sorry, what I'm trying to say here is that this book is good for you if you get scared easily but still want to get through a horror book. Next book that we have is Beastry by Emily Henry. I found this at a thrift store and I was really excited about it because I've always wanted to read this. I remember when it was like huge during COVID and everyone was reading it. It was actually so good, and I really didn't think I was a romance person. I really just did not think that that was my journey, but this was fantastic. It was so cute. It was so lovable. Some parts kind of made me a little angry, but then, you know, I feel like we redeemed ourselves at the end enough where I can just like let those things go. Characterization was really good, and the growth, and I just thought it was a good book. I thought it was really good. It's only one of my first ever romances. Like, I've really only read romance-wise The Hating Game and Call Me by Your Name, so considering that, I don't have much to compare it to, but I really actually enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would. The next book, however, Butcher and Blackbird, I'm pretty sure I rated this 2 stars. I thought it was bad, and I'm like really surprised that so many people like this book as much as they like it. I'm really open to hearing opinions and like why you enjoyed this book so much. I'm all ears. Like, one of someone I know really loves it, and I just don't get it personally. I think it was just like bad. Like so many things I just thought were like stupid and unrealistic, and like, I don't know. It's not that things always have to be realistic in a book, but like when stuff is just super unrealistic and something that isn't like fantasy, I just don't, I'm not into that personally. Like, and like the reactions in certain scenarios, and just like, I just thought it was honestly really cringe. I thought a lot of it was really cringy. I had to like push myself to get through it. I mean, I'll give it that like it was like entertaining. Like, some wild shit was always going on, but I found the characters like unlikable. They just didn't really have any depth to them. It wasn't like fleshed out enough for me to like really like care. That's just how I felt about it, and I really didn't like it. So like, I want a crossover of like, you know, the premise, I was so excited for it. I was really pumped, but it was just executed badly, I think. And yeah, you know, 2 psychopaths falling in love, it's a very fascinating idea, especially for someone who is a psych major. I'm very fascinated by that premise and think it has a lot of potential. So yeah, I'll be waiting for the day where one comes out that I like. The next book that I read was The Housemaid, and this was really good. It's kind of like one of those trashy thrillers that like moms in their like 40s need to just, you know, like spice shit up, some gossip. But I liked it. I mean, sometimes, you know, it doesn't always need to be super a masterpiece. Books don't always need to be a masterpiece. Like, media doesn't always need to be a masterpiece. Movies, literacy, you know, none of it. So I liked it. I thought it was good. I thought it was well done. I don't even remember the last time I read a book in a day. I don't think I've ever done that, and I've read this book in a day. I've never done that. So that was crazy, and I did it after like getting off a flight. So I was pretty tired and I still pushed through it because it was so good and I had to know what happened. I actually thought it was awesome. I thought it was a really fun thriller and really good for someone who wants to get into thrillers or who doesn't like to read because it's so fast paced. I thought it was honestly awesome and I like highly recommend it. My next book was Violet Bent Backwards Over the Grass. Is that what it is? Bent Backwards Over the Grass, yeah, by Lana Del Rey. This was her poetry book that she came out with. I don't remember when, but I really liked it. It was beautiful. I didn't rate it because all this poetry was like based on her life and her experiences that were written in a creative way, and I'm not gonna rate that because it's like reading someone's life. It doesn't make sense. But I thought it was beautiful. I thought it was brilliant. There was so many parts in there that just like actually touched my heart and my soul and like took my breath away, and I thought it was so beautiful and it was so worthwhile a read. There is an audiobook on Spotify that you can read along with it, which I highly suggest because I didn't know that there's actually music to go along with it as Lana Del Rey herself is narrating it. So that was like really elevated the experience and just made it like total escapism. I felt like I was like at the beach and I could feel the wind in my hair and I could feel the whooshes of the cars driving by on the highway. Like it was so immersive. And next book I read was Deep Cuts. This book was amazing. I rated it 4.5 stars. I listened to it on audiobook, so I'd really like to read a physical copy as well because, you know, I had to replay a lot. I'm not really good with audiobooks on their own. Like I had to replay a lot of things. Like I would drift off sometimes, but I would always replay it and it was fantastic. I felt really understood when I read it and just like something I could really relate to because, you know, I felt like the protagonist of this book was who would usually be a side character in other movies and other books. And it felt like it just then focused on this side character. Like that's what it felt. And you know, it's someone who loves music so much, like they want to make it their life and it's all they want to talk about. It's all they think about and they love it and they want to immerse themselves in music, but they don't exactly have the talent to do so. I try and work on guitar as much as I can, but you know, time doesn't always allow for it when you're working and when you're in school and doing the things that you do. And I have a lot of interests. Like I love music and I'm studying what I'm listening to all the time and breaking down the components in my head and breaking down the lyrics. And I find lyricism absolutely fascinating. And I write my own stuff and I try to learn to play songs, but I have a lot of interests. You know, I also love to read and be social. So to allow for all of those things, you know, I'm just not someone, it seems unfortunately, where I can pour my heart and soul in terms of time wise into one thing and get amazing at it because there's just so many things I want to immerse myself in. But guitar is my favorite and it is something I want to get good at one day. So it's just like but I'm not good at it and I probably won't get good enough with it to ever do something to be successful in it for a long time. So reading this book and with someone who's kind of feels the same way but has so many thoughts and opinions about music and wants to immerse herself in that world was so beautiful. And I felt just so, I really related to that, and for that reason, and it was still done so well. Like basically like she's writing with this guy, she's helping him write his songs and she's not really getting the recognition she deserves, and the book's kind of about her like fighting for that or wanting to be seen for like the little bit that she is contributing to something that she cares so much about. And I just thought it was absolutely beautiful and I just really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the characters. I thought it was such a great book. So if you are a music lover like myself, I highly recommend this book. Next book, we're almost done. We have The Housemaid's Secret. And I've been borrowing this whole series from my boyfriend's mom. And so I borrowed this one as well. And it was so good. Oh my gosh. I was shocked because I couldn't really see, like in my head, I couldn't picture a good follow-up to this. But I was shocked when I read it and actually was surprised, like that it actually was a reasonable follow-up and enjoyed it as much as I did. So was really surprised by that. And I really enjoyed this. Actually, I read it pretty fast. I'm pretty sure I read this in 2 days. So yeah, it's honestly worth checking out if you are looking for something to devour again and like rush through because of how intense it is. And you know, this is actually a good, better than I thought follow-up. And I will be reading the third one because I'm pretty impressed with this. The first one's still the best, but like that was pretty good. I didn't really see a way it could continue, but it did. Only 2 more books, and they're actually both Riley Sager books. So I read Lock Every Door and then I read Survive the Night. I read Lock Every Door and I thought it was awesome. I think I rated it 4 stars. These last couple books I finished within like, actually no, I finished both of these separately. I finished this in 24 hours and this in 24 hours. This one was actually really good, and the way it ended, I was like shocked The plot twist was pretty crazy. I didn't personally see it coming. Maybe I haven't read enough thrillers, but I thought it was well done. I liked the characters. I thought they had I thought the main character had a lot of depth, and really enjoyed like following her story and how she got here and just everything that came along with it. And you kind of see why she makes the decisions that she makes in this book based on her past. So it wasn't even as like, oh, she's making dumb decisions. Like, you can see why she was doing the things that she was doing. So I just really liked the way it was done. Actually, I really liked the writing style. I was impressed, and I recommend this strongly. It was really good, and I had to know what was going to happen. It was like the perfect amount of like description and character depth, and then also plot was like fire. And then Survive the Night came along, and I read this, and I think I rated this 3 stars, which is kind of generous. The first like half to like 60% of the book was so good in my opinion. Like, it had me locked in, and I was like, oh my god, what's gonna happen? I really like the premise. I love that it was set in the 90s. I'm a 90s girl at heart. I love the setting. I loved the premise of it, that you are stuck in a car with someone who you believe to be a murderer. It's horrifying. Why did she get in the car in the first place? Was that a stupid decision? Of course. But the plot had so much potential to me that I was like, I'm willing to look past that. But then the way it ended felt very contrived and out of the blue, unnecessary, especially, skip to the timestamp if you don't want spoilers, but like the fact that, what the fuck? Like, why are we marrying the person who kidnapped us? Like, that was just a totally unnecessary ending. And I was like, what the fuck? What the hell? Like, it was just so, what? It just didn't make any sense. And I don't know, I just didn't like the way it ended. But everything leading up to that, I was really intrigued and really invested. So it's kind of too bad that the ending was a bit of a letdown. Like, it did have me shocked, but I was like, of course it had me shocked. This is so crazy and out of left field. Shit's not really adding up. But it was still a fun read, honestly. Like, I had fun reading it, but I did have to push a little bit through the ending. So guys, that's every book that I've read so far. I've been explaining this for 40 minutes, which makes me really sad. What the hell am I doing? Thank you guys so much for sitting through this. That was a long one and a lot of me talking, and I'm hoping I can edit it down a lot. But thank you. Please feel free to tell me what you're reading recently, like what you're into, because I've been feeling super passionate about what I'm reading recently. So that's been really fun for me. And it's been making me just really want to read and look forward to reading like every day. I like making time for it pretty much no matter how busy I am, even if it means totally sabotaging my academic career and life. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!